CBS News Miami.
Good afternoon and thank you for joining us. I'm Naja Sherman and welcome to CBS News Miami's 4 p.m. Quickcast. Let's take a look at today's top stories. As we come on the air, we have learned that one man has now died and another man was injured in a stabbing in Southwest Miami-Dade. It happened on Bird Road near Southwest 112th Avenue. You could see yellow tape near a Miami-Dade bus. When deputies arrived on the scene, they were able to take a male suspect into custody. It remains unclear what sparked the violent incident. A deadly shooting left 2 people dead and 2 others hurt overnight in Little Haiti. CBS News Miami's Morgan Reiner was following the story all morning and joins us now from where it happened.
Police do believe there could be other suspects out there. They spent 12 hours investigating and piecing together what happened here and at another scene just a few blocks away. Dozens of evidence markers lined 62nd Street by Northwest 2nd Avenue in Little Haiti Monday morning.
Like over 20 rounds.
This neighbor, who did not want to be identified, said she called police shortly after midnight.
We all ran in the house and jumped down, of course, and then called the police. But that's the normal thing that we do as people, you know?
City of Miami police said when they got here to the scene, they found one man with a gunshot wound in the blue car. Paramedics transferred him to a hospital where he died.
We soon learned that a second male drove a few blocks away from the scene, and he was located at Northwest 2nd Avenue and 56th Street, where he was pronounced deceased inside of his vehicle.
This is that second scene where you can see the black BMW riddled with bullets and shattered glass. A tow truck pulled the car away with the body still inside.
We soon learned after that 2 additional males self-transported themselves to Jackson Memorial Hospital, where they are being treated.
It's unclear if any of the gunshot victims are also the shooters. There are no suspects in custody.
Detectives did in fact mention that they do believe there are other suspects that may be involved in this incident, and this is why we need our community to come forward.
We also asked police if they believe the people in the 2 vehicles knew each other, meaning that this was a targeted shooting as opposed to a random one. They said they are still working to figure that out as well. In Little Haiti, Morgan Reiner, CBS News, Miami.
A sad update now to a story that we first brought you last night. Fort Lauderdale police say the father who tried to rescue his kids Sunday from the water has passed away. They say 33-year-old Antoine Wilson of Lauderhill went into the water on Fort Lauderdale Beach after 2 of his kids were in distress. The children were rescued, but Wilson later died.
Always tracking, always alerting. This is Next Weather.
All right, a warm week ahead. We had a few showers today, too.
Yeah, a couple showers. I think the pattern really is going to be mostly benign here. It's not too exciting as far as the weather department, so that's good for the rest of us. Right in the afternoons, we'll start to see plenty of sunshine developing. It's the same deal that we had last week, the same that we had over the weekend, which means it's a mostly dry setup, but not a completely dry setup because we do have some moisture that's streaming in on that southeast wind. But this kind of pattern favors really overnight showers and then some morning. Sometimes the showers continue through the early part of midday, but really by the afternoon things just dry out, and everything that develops that's more significant, like a thunderstorm, that heads over to the Gulf Coast. So we're locked in. Temperatures right now in the upper 80s, low 90s, pretty typical for this time of year. And as we talked about last week, when you do have that southeast wind, you don't allow for temperatures to soar into the 90s. That would require a wind coming off the land, not off the water. The water helps us out. I mean, it's warm water, but upper 80s is better than what we're looking at here, which is the feels like temperature with temperatures in the mid and upper 90s. So if you are, going out and spending lots of time outside, always just, take a few breaks, as those temperatures are going to start hovering around 100 as far as the heat indices. A couple of showers there, stragglers through Key West, but I think for the most part, it's going to be morning stuff for us, and then everything piles over to the western side of the peninsula. There is a potential change towards the end of the week. I'm just not sold on it yet. Little disturbance may pass just close enough to bring us a little surge of moisture, and so I'll increase rain chances because of that for Wednesday and Thursday. But I've been showing you this map for a while. This is from today through the next 7 days. This is how much accumulation we have, and you can see in the greens here, it's just not much, and that is exactly what you would expect with flying showers that are going to be coming in. Still looking at rip current risk out. It's going to be moderate with that southeast wind continuing. And as we check the tropics, boy, things are quiet here. We love to see just blue with not much cloud cover at all across the central and eastern Atlantic. And where we do pay attention this time of year, things are behaving as well. The Caribbean looks good. We do have a lot of activity over the Bay of Campeche, but it doesn't look to me right now like that would be in any type of shape to organize through the next week and a half. So we may get through June here without the A storm, and that would be fantastic news. So again, rain chances around 10% in the morning. We'll bump that up to about 20% in the afternoon. And then, as I mentioned, for Thursday on Juneteenth, we have the potential for a slight uptick in rain chances. That includes Friday, our first day of summer as well, though we've been in summer since April here, right? But upper 80s and rain chances at 30, and then we're back down to just isolated coverage through the afternoons with highs pretty much staying around 90.
Ivan, thank you. We are learning that one of the victims in a deadly police-involved shooting in Wynwood had just celebrated her 28th birthday this week. Her family says she was caught in the crossfire. CBS News Miami spoke with the mother of Evelyn Valdez. She says she was an innocent bystander. Miami police say there was a shooting around 3 a.m. Saturday morning. It happened on Northwest 1st Court and 23rd Street in Wynwood. Police say it all started with a fight. When officers got to the scene, they confronted an armed man, and they were forced to fire, they say. That man was killed. A third man was also hurt, but it's unclear who shot him. He is expected to survive. The Florida Department of Law Enforcement is now investigating this case. The man accused in a deadly shooting spree in Minnesota will face federal and state murder charges. CBS News Miami's Jennifer May Earl has the story for us from Minneapolis.
Prosecutors say a Minnesota man who allegedly shot and killed State Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband at their suburban Minneapolis home on Saturday also targeted the homes of other lawmakers during his overnight rampage. On Monday, Vance Belter made an initial court appearance, facing an array of charges, including federal murder, attempted murder, and stalking offenses. After a nearly 2-day manhunt, Belter surrendered to officers, who found him in the woods near his home late Sunday. Authorities say Belter, disguised as a police officer, drove up to State Senator John Hoffman's house, where he shot and wounded Hoffman and his wife.
Belter wore a black tactical vest and body armor. He carried a flashlight and a Beretta 9mm handgun. He also wore a hyper-realistic silicone mask.
Acting U.S. Attorney Joseph Thompson says security camera footage shows Belter knocking on the door and repeatedly shouting, "This is the police, open the door." When Hoffman realized Belter was not an officer, Thompson says the suspect announced it was a robbery.
When Senator Hoffman attempted to push Belter out and stop him from entering his home, Belter shot him repeatedly. Belter then shot Miss Hoffman.
Prosecutors say Belter went to the homes of 2 more lawmakers on the night of the shootings. One was away on vacation, and the suspect left the other house after police approached him, believing he was an officer dispatched to the scene.
It is a frightening time we are living in. Political violence is prevalent, and the way we talk to and about each other has raised the temperature to unfathomable levels.
Authorities say they recovered 5 additional firearms from the suspect's vehicle and a notebook with more than 45 lawmakers' names. Jennifer Merrily, CBS News, Minneapolis.
Now, CBS News Investigations digs into communities affected by cuts to a FEMA program. It was created to help communities protect themselves from storm damage. Yes, South Florida neighborhoods are impacted, but so are many others across the country.
Any person that flooded is shocked that it would be considered politics to do flood mitigation.
What should it be considered?
It should be considered common sense.
CBS Evening News anchor Maurice Dubois joins us now from New York. Maurice, tell us more about what your investigation uncovered.
Hi there, Nadja. So we took a look at this $5 billion program from FEMA. It provided funding for vulnerable communities, taking on infrastructure programs to prevent storm damage, things like improving stormwater drainage systems and hardening the electricity grid there. It's a program the Trump administration abruptly eliminated back in April. And what we found was that 2/3 of the counties that have lost their funding voted for the president over Kamala Harris in the last election. So these cuts are disproportionately affecting places that voted for the president.
That is very interesting. And so what did the White House say when you asked them for comment?
Nobody from the administration is commenting on our findings thus far, but someone from FEMA got back to us. They told us these grants are wasteful, ineffective, more concerned with climate change and providing help for Americans affected by storms. Our investigation, as you saw there, focuses on a small town in Louisiana outside of Baton Rouge. It was all but destroyed in a big flood 9 years ago. The mayor that you heard from, he told us his grant was to be used for a new flood control system, whole sophisticated system so the town could avoid a repeat of that disaster. And he said any suggestion that it would be considered politics, as you heard, to do flood mitigation is pure nonsense. He did add that he would vote for the president if asked to, again, given the choices. But you'll have that story laid out for you tonight on the evening news, and I hope you'll join us for it, Nadja.
Certainly an issue that affects so many Floridians, especially as we are now in hurricane season. Maurice, thank you for your investigative report. And more than $148 million in FEMA funding was cut from South Florida projects on the books to help prevent flooding in several neighborhoods. CBS News Miami's Larry Seward asked Miami-Dade's mayor what that means for our community. His story tonight on CBS News Miami at 6. And then stick around for Maurice's investigative story on the CBS Evening News tonight at 6:30. Deadly flooding in West Virginia and the big shakeup on the trial against Sean Diddy Combs. All this when we return in just minutes. Stay with us. At least 5 people were killed after flash flooding caused by torrential rains. This is happening in West Virginia, and officials say up to 4 inches of rain fell in northwestern parts of the state in just a half an hour. The rain overwhelmed local waterways and infrastructure. An apartment complex was mostly destroyed by the weekend storms. Several homes in the area were also destroyed by the storms. That same storm devastated parts of San Antonio earlier this week. 13 people died in that area. A big shakeup in the Sean Diddy Combs trial. A juror has now been dismissed and replaced with an alternate juror. Prosecutors raised concerns last week about some of his inconsistent answers related to where he lives and with whom. The judge held lengthy discussions but decided to remove him from the case. The prosecution is expected to call its final witness and rest its case by Wednesday. Combs is charged with racketeering, sex trafficking, and other charges. He could spend the rest of his life in prison if convicted. And that does it for your CBS News Miami Quickcast. I'm Naja Sherman. Stay tuned for more news right here on CBS News Miami and have a wonderful day.